So this may seem a little repetitive, but we're talking about forming a group again, and we're going to be going over some different concepts in regards to this due to your new text. And so when you're forming the group, you want to try to be mindful of what are the reasons behind the group, what's the objectives, the practical considerations, procedures, evaluation, how you're going to attract members should this person be included in this group, what methods of screening will you use, how can you determine how many may or may not benefit from a group, how might you deal with a candidate who is not appropriate for your group, group size, how often you want to meet, length of the group, place for the group sessions, open versus closed. You want to make sure that, whatever the material that you're using, that you're familiar with it, you feel comfortable with it. That's important. A smaller group might have some bigger advantages than a larger group, but also a smaller group can feel more intimidating. But the amount of vulnerability more than likely is going to happen more likely in a smaller group than a larger group, just because there's less people that you're dealing with. And so you just want to make sure you're creating a good environment, that confidentiality is understood, obviously in both circumstances, but you want to be mindful of that when the group is less people. A few misconceptions about groups are suited for everyone, which is not true. Not everyone is ready for a group and or can handle, maybe some things that group has to offer. The main goal of group is for everyone to achieve closeness. That's not true. We're not looking to become best friends with everybody in our group. Group tells people how they should be. No. Group pressures. The group pressure forces members to lose their sense of identity, and that's not true either. And groups are artificial and unreal. Hopefully not. We want them to be a very real and positive experience. A pre-group meeting is just setting expectations, rules. Again, it could be for a more short-term type group. It might just be a way to kind of get out of a lot of the logistics out of the way so they can really dive in the first meeting. And they're not having to deal with a lot of the other stuff. Describe how group work helps members. You're just kind of giving them the overall educational information about groups so that they can make the best informed decision that they can. That's important. And it might be something that you do, maybe something that you don't do, but it is an option for you when deciding to lead a group. We are talking about now the initial stage of group, which is the very beginning of group. And the initial stage, members are just getting to know each other. There could be awkward, uncomfortable, lame jokes that are said to make people kind of feel chuckle. Risk-taking is at a low, just because people are getting to know each other. And this is pretty common at the initial phase of group. Concerns about being rejected, accepted, judgment. Nobody wants to feel stupid, not knowing what is expected. These are all things that are part of group at the very beginning. Facilitating the group process by sharing personal expectations and by modeling interpersonal honesty and respect and spontaneity. Establishing trust is a central task for the initial stage, and the level of trust depends on attitudes and investment. Empathy, respect, caring, confrontation, genuineness, self-disclosure, nonverbal behavior, reading cues, having you as a leader being able to read some cues, body language, things of that nature. Good attending skills, you learn about that in professional practice, but those basic attending skills, listening, eye contact, following along with your own personal body gestures, those are all basic attending skills that we should carry out in any sort of therapy setting, whether it be group or individuals or families or couples. We need to have really good attending skills. That's important. Making sure goals are clear so no one's confused or not understanding what the point of the group is. It should be pretty clear what the point of the group is. It can be collaborative. Everyone could have different, ideas of what it should look like. And so, maybe that might be part of your pre-group or part of your group's initial session to kind of establish what that is. If there's no goals, that's going to be hard for the group to be grounded. And so we want to make sure that the group is grounded on foundational things so that you can achieve those goals. And so we don't want it just to be kind of floating around ambiguously. We want it to be grounded on what is needed to achieve the goal at the end. So the initial phase involves the stage of groups tend to go through. Tension and conflict may build up at the beginning. You could have some activities, group cohesion activities, learning to work cooperatively, some icebreaker type things too, to make it kind of fun, help people kind of identify who they are and what's going on in their lives. Making some group rules, so people being on time, attending regularly, sharing meaningful aspects of themselves, expectation of giving feedback, encouraged to support and challenge others, encouraged to focus on the here and now. All these are good group norms. And then, again, we want to establish and be people who are demonstrating an effective therapeutic relationship. You want to have a positive client-therapist relationship, so that clients can grow and mature and learn through their group process and through your leadership in the group. And want to make sure that we're handling ourselves in a way, because we're modeling a lot for our clients. And so in this initial phase, especially when we're trying to get people to buy in and have vulnerability, we need to be mindful of how we're behaving, how we're demonstrating things, so that we can have a good flow in the group. So we want to build trust, self-disclosure, participate fully, embrace change, listening, taking in feedback, discover new dimensions of ourselves. We want to go to a level of depth so that we can continue to grow in each individual phase. But these are some of the things that we want to do, at least one in creating the group and in the initial portion. So I hope this is helpful for you all. Keep up the hard work, and I will talk to you next week.